gone. Ready, ready.
We now interrupt your regularly scheduled draft coverage to talk about something very important to me, and that's YouTube. Not just YouTube, by the way, but sports media on YouTube. Where it's been, where it's going, but also the lessons that I've learned over the years that have gotten me to this spot. And hopefully through these lessons, which are predominantly mistakes that I've made or things that I've picked up along the way that I was doing very, very wrong that I now try to do better at. But hopefully, if I import these lessons on the next generation of creators that are watching this right now, they can get to the exact same spot that I'm at right now a hell of a lot faster than the way I got here. And by the way that I got here is through a new program that the NFL created where they partnered with YouTube to throw the full weight of YouTube and the NFL behind the creators that they partner with. You know, if you watch the Packers-Cowboys episode that I released on this channel not too long ago, you saw a bunch of NFL Films footage in that video. Guess where I got it from? NFL Films. They just sent it to me. Like, I sent a list of plays and angles that I needed. They pulled it out of the vault. A lot of that stuff had never even been seen before, and they just gave it to me. And so hopefully in this video, you know, through the lessons that I've learned that ideally I can pass off to you today, you also, you know, the young creator watching this, the next generation of creators, you also can eventually get into this program, get the access, get the resources, and make the football content that you've always wanted to make. That is ultimately my goal today, because I know I'm not going to do this forever. I know there's people coming up right now that are 17, 18 years old that probably have a lot more tread left on the tires than me, and I want them to be able to be as successful as possible in their careers. And so if you are one of those people, or you want to be one of those people, I implore you to listen up, because I've made a lot of mistakes in my career, a lot of very avoidable mistakes, and my goal is to help you avoid those mistakes so that you can get here a lot faster than I did. Lesson number one is really the only technical lesson that I have for you today, but it's something that I really want to pass on because I find it important and it's stuck with me since the very beginning of my career. And that's that mastering audio is a lot more important than mastering video. Yes, I have a nice cinema camera now, and I try to add a flair of cinematography to my videos and make them as visually appealing as possible. But that was far less important as I was growing my channel and growing my audience to mastering audio and making these videos listenable. I think the best example of this principle is the movie Blair Witch Project, which came out in 1999. I know a lot of you watching this weren't even born yet. That makes me feel very old. But Blair Witch Project was one of the most successful horror movies ever made. It was made for less than $1 million. It was shot on camcorders. But the reason why that movie was so successful is because the sound mixing was incredible. Like, it was one of the best mixed movies ever, especially in the horror genre. And they really demonstrated the visceral reaction that the human brain has to sound over visual stimulus. And I'm sure a lot of you right now are thinking through a bunch of creators that you watch on this platform that maybe shoot their videos on an iPhone, and they're not like the most visually impressive thing you've ever seen, but they have good audio. And so your brain naturally associates good audio with a quality product. And that's what matters. Like, that is the lesson to take away. Somebody's going to turn off your video if the audio is bad a lot quicker than they'll turn it off than if it's shot on an iPhone. Like, you don't have to shoot on a cinema camera. Like, you can shoot it on your phone. Just make sure you have one of these. You know, this is a Shure SM7B. It's like the king of all podcast mics. It's my most used mic. I'll throw a link in the description, by the way. You don't have to get this one. They actually make one that's about half the price that's still very good. I think it's called the MV7, if I recall correctly. It works on USB-C, so you don't even need to run it through an audio interface with an XLR cable. I know I'm speaking technical jargon right now. Anyway, the mics that I use, I'll throw in the description. You can look at them if you want to. But what I'm trying to say is if you're going to invest in something, invest in a mic. Do not invest in a camera until you've already mastered audio, because in the end, a lot of you have sat here and listened to this whole thing with a fucking static shot in the background with nothing going on, but the audio sounded good, so you stayed. I feel like that lesson kind of proves itself. All right, lesson number 2, which unfortunately I've had to learn the hard way many times over the course of my career. First impressions matter. And when I say first impressions matter, what I really mean is readability is key. If you think about the percentage of traffic that goes to YouTube, believe it or not, about 60 to 70% of all watch time comes from mobile. And I'm talking about long form or shorts. It doesn't really matter. Most people even consume long form on their phones. Obviously, there are going to be channels that are the exception to that rule that have a little bit higher watch time on TV or on desktop, but generally speaking, mobile is the most popular way to consume YouTube. And so you have to be cognizant of that even while you're making long-form content. That means readable titles, stuff that, doesn't have a whole bunch of extra information in it that doesn't really need to be in there, like, episode number 60 or some long title that has every point that's going to be hit in the video in the title. You don't need to do that. Make it readable, make it something that can be understood at a glance, and the same goes for thumbnails. This is something that, again, I've had to learn a lot over the course of my career. I used to have really terrible thumbnails that either were not visually appealing, that did not really catch the eye, or it just had too much information in it. And so if you look at my thumbnails now versus my thumbnails years ago, I got a lot better at Photoshop, so that probably helped too. But it's stuff that works better at a glance. You're really more just trying to convey part of what the video is about, or rather the key thesis of the video through the thumbnail, not everything that's in that video. At the end of the day, simplicity is king, and simplicity will get people to stop their scroll. In the industry, it's literally referred to as a thumb stop rate. That is what we're trying to do. It's to use a good title and thumbnail to stop somebody's scroll. Now, once you stop that scroll, that's where the next part of first impressions matter comes in. The first 5 to 10 seconds of your video are the most important 10 seconds. Because again, especially if somebody isn't familiar with your content or doesn't know who you are, they are taking a leap of faith when they stop scrolling. They are taking a risk with their time, which they have a limited amount of. They're risking their time to give you a chance to entertain them. So you have to reward that leap of faith, so to speak. That means in the first 5 to 10 seconds of the video, you need to reassure them that they clicked on the right thing. That means starting off with either a really good piece of information or, writing a really good hook for your narration, or maybe some like visually appealing cinematography, whatever your hook is that can get somebody locked in the first 5 to 10 seconds of the video. That is key, because you have to let them know that they clicked on the right thing. By the way, I'm not sure if I'm getting drowned out right now by the defensive lineman on the other side of the field doing their bench press test right now and just cranking out reps of 225, being monsters over there. Good God, I think he just hit 30. Anyway, I'm going to go get some shots of that, and then we'll move on to my next lesson that took me way too many years to learn.
Little by little, you wear me down.
All right, lesson number 3, and this is something that I've always believed in, but it's definitely something that I've tried to emphasize even more and more as my career has gone on. Value generates multiple clicks. You want to build a valuable library of content. That means no clickbait, No videos that are just stringing people along and extending the runtime so you can add in more mid-rolls and make more AdSense money. That is the worst possible thing you can do, because then if that is the first video of yours that somebody is exposed to, they're going to associate you with low-value content, which means they're not going to make it a priority to click on anything else that you make. Obviously, in the last section, we talked about, getting people in the door with that click is important, with good titles and thumbnails and hooks and everything like that. And yes, obviously it is. But if you just want that one click, you're thinking about this the wrong way. You want the second, the third, the fourth, the 10th, the 30th click. You want them to go through your library because they love everything that you make. If you scare them off by releasing a bullshit video and that's the first time they ever get exposed to you, they're not coming back and you're not getting any other clicks from them. So it's a lot easier to build a brand even with a smaller amount of people in your audience if that smaller amount of people loves everything you make because they find value in it. And that can be comedy, entertainment, education, whatever. There's a lot of different ways to be valuable to people, but you need to respect their time that they are investing into your content and be valuable. Because if you're not valuable to them, they ain't coming back. Lesson number 4. Valuable content is rooted in authenticity. And what I mean by that is you have to be authentic to yourself, or you can't expect anybody else to be authentically interested in what you're making. You have to make content that if you were scrolling YouTube, you would actually want to watch. And I know what you're thinking out there. You're thinking, I can't make content about the niches that I'm interested in because they're too small and nobody else likes what I like. Guess what? There's a lot of people that like what you like. There's millions of people that are just like you, and I mean this with all due respect, none of us are special. All right, whatever, specific point in the overlapping Venn diagram of like 100 different circles that you think you inhabit, there's a million other people that are also in that exact same spot. And they're looking for people to make content that reach those interests. So you should be the one to do that. You can trust in the fact that whatever content you want to watch, there's an army of people out there that want to watch the same thing. So just make that. If you're chasing trends, if you're trying to go after the stuff that's getting like the most views and you're trying to go ultra viral, first of all, very few people are actually passionate about making that type of content. They're just in it for a check. And B, you're probably not going to succeed because an audience will sniff out very quickly that you're not passionate about what you're making. So make the stuff you like. A, you'll last longer in this industry. And B, you'll discover a whole community of people that are just like you, that like the same stuff you like. And maybe it's a niche that nobody else in your actual life enjoys. And so you don't really get to talk about it that much. Make stuff for those people that you share passions with. When I first started making videos, there was nobody making football X's and O's content on YouTube. It just didn't exist, but I was passionate about it. I was passionate about learning the sport, especially from all my coaching friends that still have more football knowledge in their left pinky than I have in my whole body, but I enjoy learning from them and then trying to teach others about the game that we all love. And that content didn't exist on YouTube 8 years ago. But I had this belief that if I like this thing, I'm sure there's other people that like this thing. And now this channel has 400,000 people following it. So trust in the fact that whatever nerdy niche you're interested in, there's a lot of other people that like it too. So make content for them. It's nighttime now, if you couldn't tell. I've been here for about 12 hours at this point, but I finally found a moment to come record the last part of this video. This is lesson number 5, by the way, which is committing to get 1% better every video and realizing that you're not going to be where you want to be when you first start out. You're gonna suck. That's guaranteed. You're gonna be bad at this. But I need you to realize that everybody's bad at this when they first start. I was terrible, If I go back and I look at my early videos, the visuals are terrible, the audio is terrible, even though, again, lesson 1, I said master your sound first. I hadn't even done that yet. My graphics were awful. I wasn't even on camera at the time, but eventually I did go on camera, and that looked bad. Again, I didn't go to school for cinematography, and so I've just been trying to figure this out over the years, but my early days on camera, it looked horrible. But I had to go through that. I had to make bad videos to eventually make good videos. And then I had to make a bunch of good videos to eventually make videos that might be kind of great. And I'm still kind of hard on myself. I still don't think I'm even remotely all the way there yet, but I look back at where I was years ago and I see how far I've come. So again, commit to getting 1% better every single video. Don't be so hard on yourself for not being all the way down the road yet that you just make nothing. You have to get through the process of being bad at this before you can be good at this. And I've never met any great creators that started out amazing at being a creator. You're gonna suck. So embrace sucking, like embrace the process, embrace the journey, because yes, it doesn't feel good to not be able to make the things that you have envisioned in your head right away, but it feels amazing that when you do finally release something that you're really, really proud of, to then go back and look at where you were. And I do think that the journey of getting better at this is one of the best parts of this job. I don't really think there can be a value placed on that. So embrace the journey, embrace being bad, give yourself grace for being bad, and understand that over time, you'll get here. I don't know if all that made exact perfect sense, but in my head it did. But still, ask questions down in the comments below. If there's anything I need to expand on, or if you have any other random questions about this job, I'd be happy to answer anything. Like, truly, I'm only here because of you guys, and I'm only here because of this community that supported me for a lot of years at this point. So I'm an open book. Whatever you got, I will try to answer to the best of my ability. And hopefully I'll be able to see more of you guys, at the Combine, at Super Bowl, at all these events, because they're only going to invite more and more people and work with more and more people and give them, all the resources and support that, quite frankly, I've never seen any other sports league do, let alone, in tandem with YouTube itself. I have been told that this program is very high on the priority list for the league as well as for YouTube. So I think the creator economy, when it comes to football, it's going to be pretty insane within the next, not even 5 years, within the next year. Like, I think this program is going to be huge. I think it's going to change sports media forever, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. Hopefully I get to see more of you guys here next year. So with that being said, thank you for all the love and support. I will see you guys, I guess, fairly soon with something else. Later.